Kral Devil. It's a synthetic model. You can get a camo, I think maybe a hardwood. This is 115 centimeters long. A Turkish gun with a 49 centimeter barrel. In the front of that shroud there we have the fibre optic. At the rear, fibre optic 2, adjustable. Some gripping. 11mm rail. Some stippling there as well. At the rear, a perforated or aerated butt pad. And the trigger is a 2-stage, non-adjustable. You can't adjust it. It does have a manual safety. Today's pellets are going to be the Dome Spitfires, which I've been using on quite a few guns lately, as they're budgety and they give us a true reflection if you're going to just have a bit of a budget setup. Very windy here today, Maranatha, and unfortunately the wind is coming through the tunnel a little bit and affecting our shooting. There we are again. This was built in 47, burnt down in 52, much to my granddad's dismay at the time, and then re-corrugated in 72, and it's still here untouched since that time. We're coming up to the 20-yard mark where the wind didn't seem to be affecting us at all with the Kral Devil. The 30-yard mark where we did seem to be getting quite a lot of effect, a lot of splitting. I do think that I could have done better here on a different day, and then 40 very much the same. But we got our targets about, so let's see if we can knock some down and give a view of what the gun's like to shoot. Don't know if you can hear the sound of the rifle, but it's very twangy in person, especially when you're actually on the shot. Can be a bit off-putting at the beginning, but you do get used to it. You can probably see the front ends moving around a bit as I'm aiming, and that's because it's very light at the front and it's making it a bit hard, at least for me, to be consistent. There's not much kick though, which is something. Especially considering how light and powerful this gun is, and also it's incredibly easy to cock, which is a bit of a boon. I think with the wind this has made this all a bit harder as well. It's just another variable, but I'm not hugely enjoying shooting this freehand. So at 40 yards, I'm not having problems hitting anything. In a rested position, it's much better than freehand. The lightness of the front isn't particularly an issue. It hasn't got the kick, and it's got the power and accuracy to deliver, and it is delivering. I enjoy shooting this in a rested position. It's a completely different gun. Kral Devil. There are a few negatives with this gun. Number one, it twangs pretty heavily. In fact, worse than any air rifle I've ever shot. I've got two of them as well for 50 quid each, whether they're in a sale, and the other one twangs too. It is something within the gun, so that's a bit off-putting. Number two, it's very light, 2.8 kilograms for the length of it. It's the same length as a Remington Express 2.2 at 115 centimeters, and the lightness is at the front a bit, which is making it a little difficult, especially when you're holding it with a freehand, to get the gun to be accurate every time. I think the gun is more accurate than I made it look, and it probably does improve your shooting in terms of your skill level. But it's a bit windy here today, that didn't help, but even so, I'd expect to hit things pretty much every time at 30 yards, and as you've seen, I didn't do that. When it was being in a rested position, it was I was a little bit more confident, even at 40 yards. But yeah, it's that makes it a little difficult. The other negative is the trigger. It is a two-stage, but the first stage is barely there, so you're there straight away. It's predictable, it's usable, but that's something you have to get used to. So there's a few things with this gun that take a little bit getting used to. However, when you do get used to it, it's accurate and it's powerful. I mean, it's very close to the 12 foot-pound mark. Maybe it could be dialed down a bit and that would help a bit, but at 20 yards I did a little competition with all my guns and this gun was the best. Further on, yeah, I guess it depends to your skill level, and maybe mine isn't quite up to scratch yet with this gun. But I've owned it for a year and I know if I've got my eye in, this will do the job. So there's a lot of negatives, but the things that you'd want a gun to do, which is shoot accurately and shoot powerfully, this does. And not for everyone, that's for certain, but I like variety, and so I'm quite happy to own it.